All right. Welcome. Welcome to the first episode, the premiere of the Murray Chat podcast. This is the big brother to the Murray Chat series, Murray Chat. This is the podcast that I have been working on for quite a while. Hope you guys enjoy it. I will be moving into another studio soon. We actually have a whole office desk coming, office printer that I'm going to be actually building a separate area for in the apartment. So this is temporary, maybe for the first few episodes until that is set up. But I want to welcome everybody to the first episode of Murray Chat, the Murray Chat podcast. I will still have the Murray Chat series in between. That is the smaller edition of the podcast that you guys have been watching the past few weeks. And what a great time to start the podcast because E3 is upon us. So we're going to actually talk about some E3 predictions. And I may have an E3 special during E3 because I'm going to cover E3 differently this year. I actually was invited to E3 this year. But those of you that know or maybe that haven't followed me for a while, I had a massive stroke last year. And I've been going to rehab, both in-home and outpatient. And that's just not happening this year. They want me to stay local. They want me to stay around the area and build my strength up. I still have very little feeling on my left side, but I'm able to walk now. I'm able to do things, but it's still a long road ahead. I'm still very weak. So, E3 is not in the cards right now, but it was an honor to be asked to go there and cover it. So I will be doing what I've been doing the past, since I've been on YouTube, basically, covering E3 from at home, which is fine. You can watch it in the convenience of your own home. I take notes, but I am going to be doing it a little differently this year. Normally, how I cover E3 is that I pretty much cover the press conferences verbatim, so-and-so walked out on stage, so-and-so, announced this, so-and-so walked out on stage and announced this guy walked off, and I'm not going to do that, You could watch it. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do a basic highlight show because it's too much to cover, and I'm basically going to just cover what I think is important. And then I'm going to really, talk about the good stuff and leave all the filler out because it's just too long and it's too much, and I don't get a lot of exposure, and I put my heart into it. I mean, one year I showed my notes for E3, and it was like 20 pages of notes. I don't have the time. I'd rather spend that with my wife. I'd rather spend that with my family and actually play video games. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make E3 short this year and cover it a little bit different, kind of like more of a highlights reel. But now with this podcast, we can actually have an E3 dedicated podcast where we just talk about E3. Maybe who won E3 and an E3 wrap up. So maybe that'll be the next Murray podcast, the Murray Chat podcast. So let's just stick on topic. E3 2019, what's to be expected? Well, we are on the start of a new console generation. The Xbox, the next iteration of the Xbox, the PlayStation 5. We've already heard the specs of the PlayStation 5. We've actually seen a demo from Sony of the loading screens and how fast the PlayStation 5 can load data. They showed Spider-Man. They talked about this technology called ray tracing. So the PlayStation 5 looks really, really, really interesting. I'm sure Xbox will have something in competition with that. I'm loving my Xbox One X. I think that's a powerhouse. And I do see a big difference from the Xbox One, the original launch Xbox One. I'm absolutely loving my X. And same with the PlayStation 4 Pro. So I could just imagine these next generation consoles. It never ends. They just keep getting better and better. But you know what? We're at to the point where I'm happy with the graphics as they are now. I'd rather just have more storage space, solid state drive, faster loading times, faster rendering. And it looks like that's what we're getting. I mean, you know, engines dedicated to fog and rendering and, you know, more storage space, faster storage, faster rendering, loading. So I'm all for that. So I hope we find out more from these at E3. Of course, Sony is not doing E3 this year. So I'm hoping to find out something before or after E3. I'm sure Sony has something planned up their sleeve, you know. I think it's very strange that Sony's not doing E3, especially with the launch of a new console coming up. And if Microsoft was smart, you know, they would concentrate at E3 with the next Xbox, or at least tease it. But there's still so much coming out for these consoles. But, you know, this is what happens at the end of a console generation. You know, you're shifting one out and you're bringing one in. But I think it has a lot to do with the last E3. In my personal opinion, that was a disaster for Sony. Watch my E3 coverage of last year. I think Sony kind of fucked up, if I'm putting it lightly. I don't think that was well done. I don't think it was a disaster. I think what they showed game-wise was fantastic. But the way they did their show, I think, kicked them in the ass. That whole, you know, I talked to journalists that I know personally that were there covering E3. And they spent more time getting up and moving to different stages and moving to different set locations and BS than actually covering the conference. And I think that's what really did it. And I think Sony has to figure their E3s, you know, better in the future. So maybe they're taking a break. But, you know, on the other hand, we're living in an era where E3 is not really the way it was, as far as E3 is the end-all be-all. Now we have all these other press conferences. Now we have, you know, digital trailers, digital directs, the PlayStation experience now, the way that Nintendo does it with directs. So, you know, you don't have to do E3. But, you know, it was always a nice thing to see. It was always a nice way to find your information. And now with leaks and everything, it's not the way it was. It is different. E3 is different now. So much stuff is leaked before E3. It's like not even a surprise anymore. It's a shame. Because I liked it when you were sitting at the edge of your seat waiting for a reveal trailer that you had no idea. I mean, you still get that, but the majority of it is, most of the stuff you know already, because the way the internet and social media is. It's out on Twitter before E3. So, but as far as E3, yeah, I would like to hear more about the Xbox. And as far as Sony, since they're not doing E3, the rumor was, there was two rumors. One was that we were going to hear more about Death Stranding, which we did. We saw a trailer from Kojima. November 8th is the release date. The other rumor was that we were going to hear more about The Last of Us 2 before E3. Now I'm wondering, since one rumor became true, I'm wondering if this is going to become true. And if it is, they better hurry up about it, Neil Druckmann, Naughty Dog, because E3 is very close to us. So, if we are going to hear something about The Last of Us, when is it? I think it might be after E3. But I am looking forward to that game. And I was really bummed when I found out that Sony wasn't doing E3, only because I wanted to hear about The Last of Us 2. But you know what? If they give it to us in a form around E3, whether it be before or slightly after, I'm okay with that. But I need to find out. I need to hear more about that game. I need to hear a release date for The Last of Us 2. That's what I want. It's my most anticipated game. It's been my most anticipated game since the second I finished the first game. I need that game. Seriously, I need that game. The first game was a masterpiece in my opinion. And I just think it's a masterpiece. Simple as that. And also, I think the second one is going to blow the first one away. But that's my high hopes from what I've seen so far. And, you know, people are saying it's going to be a PlayStation 5 launch title. That would be fine. But I think it's going to be I think it's going to be similar to the way The Last of Us 1 launched. It was at the end of the PlayStation 3's life cycle, and then it got ported over to the PS4 shortly after. But, on second note, the PlayStation 5 is going to be backward compatible with PlayStation 4, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. Even if they have like a super hyped up version of it on PS5. So we'll see. But I know that they wrapped up mocap. I know they wrapped up, you know, Neil Druckmann said congrats. He had Ashley Johnson, Troy Baker, that they wrapped up all that. So I don't know if the release date is around the corner, but I'm hoping at the end of this year or before the PlayStation 5, which is, as we know of, next year, according to Sony, which I'm sure is the same with the Xbox. Hopefully E3 will find out more about the Xbox, the next Xbox, and when that's coming out, or roughly. I would imagine, like the last console, they're going to be in competition with the PS5, so they're going to want to release theirs around the same time. I don't think they want a huge gap. You know, I don't think they want the PlayStation 5 releasing and then not have their next generation out, you know, around the same time. And Nintendo, they do their own thing. You know, they're probably going to come out with some kind of a Switch Pro or something. As far as E3, I want to know more about Animal Crossing. I want to see some Sword and Shield gameplay. I want to see Luigi's Mansion 3. I want to be hit with some big surprises. I want to see Halo Infinite. I want to see a lot of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which was recently announced. I want to see Gears 5, Gears of War 5. Maybe the next iteration of Forza. That's always nice. Bethesda, maybe some Elder Scrolls 6. I do love Fallout 76, so what's the next, you know, what's on the roadmap for that? I know they have a full roadmap scheduled. Doom Eternal, I like to hear more about that. Cyberpunk. So, I'm excited for E3, you know, and of course, there is always going to be those out of nowhere surprises, and I'm looking forward to them, you know. I'm looking forward to seeing more about the games we know about, and I am looking forward to the big surprises, and I know there's going to be some. So, that's all I got to say right now about E3. I do hope to have a E3 special podcast, either during the week of E3 or after E3. Yeah, so again, Call of Duty, what was it, October 25th? Yeah, looking forward to that. They look like they really listened to the fans on this one. I was reading some of the notes. I watched the trailer. You know, about how everything's going to be free, or at least a lot of it. They're planning on no season pass. They're planning on bringing back the campaign. They're listening to a lot of fan feedback. They want to do things right. That's good. That's great to hear. That seems positive. From what I've seen in the teaser and the trailer, looking good, has my interest. You know, even when it's at its worst, Call of Duty is always a quality product. And, yeah, October 25th. Let's see what happens. Let's see what Call of Duty is all about. Hopefully, we see a lot at E3. I've been playing Call of Duty since the beginning, so no different here. I'll definitely be picking it up. Pre-ordered. I'm going to be pre-ordering it at GameStop. I guess they're having some kind of special poster you could get. So, oh, and then there's this big thing with cross-play. I guess you could play with people from PlayStation, people with Xbox, all together at the same time. So that should be pretty interesting. That could be revolutionary for the future of game developers, you know, because there's so many game developers that were saying, oh, you know, that's not possible. You know, you can't do that. We'll see. Seems like they're doing it, and if there was a company to do it, it would be them. Next on topic that I wanted to actually talk about was Mortal Kombat. And I know we recently talked about this in an episode of Murray Chat, but this is the Murray Chat podcast, so I do want to mention it. It's recent. Is Mortal Kombat 11 the DLC reveal of the Combat Pack 1 and the Shang Tsung gameplay trailer? So it seems to me overall that the rumors are true, and it seems like we know possibly what the next, at least half of it, what the next Combat Pack 2 will be. Because the leaks seem to be pretty accurate. Nightwolf, Sindel, Spawn. 2 gets characters. At the end of the trailer, you hear a chainsaw, Ash Williams. You hear a kind of like a remixed kind of version of Rise of the Machines, Terminator. And yeah. So there you go. And I know they said Joker, and I know they said Fujin. So Shiva, that's all Combat Pack 2. And then, you know, I guess 3 more if they're doing another 6, if they're keeping every Combat Pack 6. That's pretty cool. Shang Tsung looks awesome. I can't wait to try him. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to main him. He forms into Rain. He forms into Ermac, Smoke, Reptile. Really, he's fan service, which is fine, which is cool. That's awesome. He does look really sick. I'm looking forward to Spawn. I've been wanting Spawn forever. But, you know, here's something really interesting that I find interesting. I'm super happy that Spawn is finally in a NetherRealm game, is finally in Mortal Kombat. What I find interesting, and maybe it's just me, but is that everybody always talks about Spawn in Mortal Kombat, like before he was revealed. We want Spawn in Mortal Kombat. I totally get it. I'm actually probably the biggest Todd McFarlane fan. I have every one of his figures, statues. If you ever seen any of my older game room tours, I have all the Spawn figures. I have all the musicians, Metallica, Alice Cooper, Rob Zombie. I have the sports figures, the movie maniacs. I'm a huge, huge collector of Spawn and McFarlane toys. In comics. But what I can't understand is NetherRealm also does Injustice. Comic book characters. Wouldn't you think that Spawn would be requested to be in Injustice, like Injustice 3? I always found that odd. Like they wanted Spawn in Mortal Kombat, but they didn't want him in Injustice? Like Injustice 2 had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you know? But it seems like, I understand that Mortal Kombat is heavy into movies like Leatherface, Jason, Predator. Awesome. But Spawn, you would think that they would want him to be saved for Injustice 3. Strange. I don't know. Food for thought. But I'm glad he's coming. I think they're going to make him badass. I hope he's got the cape and everything. Can't wait to see a gameplay reveal trailer for him. I don't know if that's in order, like Nightwolf, Sindel, Spawn. I'm guessing it is. And then the last two characters. But, man, I can't wait for Spawn. I wish he was next. I really do. But Shang Tsung is looking sick, and I am a huge fan of Nightwolf. I used to use Nightwolf a lot. So, looking forward to that. Definitely a big fan of Mortal Kombat. I bought it for every system, including the Season Pass. So I will definitely be checking out the DLC here. June 18th, early access for Season Pass holders. Hope you come and join me. Hope you come in and check out the DLC. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about on our premiere first episode of the Murray Chat podcast. I'm so psyched. I'm so happy to get this out to you guys. I'm so happy to get the first episode out. Many more coming. Trust me. It's not going to be a long wait again. I will roll these out. It's just, it was a rough year last year, and I wanted to do it right, and I wanted to have good topics to talk about. And this is a great time of year to do that with E3 and a lot of news rolling out. So we'll keep it interesting in the future for sure. And again, like I said, I'm getting a different setup. So I'm going to have my own desk office area for the next, possibly not maybe the next episode, but within the next few episodes, we'll have a different setup and a different studio. Maybe for the E3 special, we'll see. But one thing I wanted to talk about that I didn't talk about, and I wanted to, again, use it on my other show, Murray Chat. So I saved it for the podcast, is The Walking Dead. Telltale's The Walking Dead. It finished. It ended. I have a lot to talk about. I absolutely, as a whole, loved the series. I love the game. To me, it's one of the best video games ever, as a whole, season 1 through the last season, for the final season. The way that Skybound did what they did in the predicament that they were in after the whole layoff thing, after Telltale said, we don't know about the future of Clementine, if she's going to finish. The way Skybound took over and finished her, hats off to Skybound. I think Skybound fucking nailed it. I have a lot of respect for that company. I have a mad respect. And overall, I'm just going to wrap up the whole series. Overall, I think the fucking whole series is fantastic. There's people out there, I'm not going to name names, because I don't like to lowball people, but there's people out there that have a big say in the gaming journalists, and they're like, oh, don't play any of the seasons except for season 1. Fuck that. How ignorant are you? You play every season. Those people busted their ass, and every season is fantastic and tells a story. Just to tell a person just to play the first season of The Walking Dead, you're a fucking idiot. End of story. That's all I'm going to go with that. But I think the last season was fantastic, and I think it was well done. But I have a lot of theories of what went down with that season. And I have a lot that I think happened, and I think a lot of reasons why that season was the way it was. Overall, if you just, follow the game, play that season, blah, 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 finish it, I think you're going to be very, 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 very happy. I do. Actually, you're going to be extremely happy. I know because I was. But there's a double-edged sword to this season. I have a lot of theories and a lot of thinking. that I did over the night when I first played that game. When I first played the final episode. More specifically, the final episode of the last season. You know, it was almost like well, here. I'm going to tell everybody right now. Spoilers. Spoiler warning. I'm going like this right now for spoilers. When I do this at the end of the conversation, that means the spoilers are over and you can fast forward. You can start listening again. Okay, when I do this again. So, again, spoiler alert. There will be spoilers to The Walking Dead video game. Because there's no way around this. I can't dilly-dally. So, in The Walking Dead, as you know, if you played it, and I'm sure you did if you're listening, when Clementine is in the barn with AJ, and she's basically telling him to finish her off, it goes into a, it goes black or whatever, and then it goes to AJ. Goofball. And he's doing his thing in that little cabin and blah, 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 and, he's with the dog and this, that, the other thing, and her hat goes down the stream, and he's going after it. You're holding onto your neck. It's like somebody punched you in the stomach. You've been with Clementine for all those years. You're very attached to her. Me personally, I think she's one of the greatest video game characters ever. As far as the way she was written, as far as her personality, what she's been through. My all-time favorite video game character is Ellie from The Last of Us. So Ellie and Clementine. Crazy, right? Now, so long story short, you get to the end of the game, and all of a sudden, you start hearing her talk to you, and you turn around and she's there. She's got no leg. So fast forward, basically what he did was he cut her leg off. So, as a fan, I was almost crying, like very emotional. You're happy and surprised and overwhelmed with joy. Your favorite all-time character is alive. Awesome feeling. Because 100%, I thought that's it. She's dead. 100%. So this was fantastic. But then after I beat the game, I started really thinking of what happened. And I started thinking back on social media, and I could do an hour special on my thought process and thinking. I'm not going to bore you. But long story short, there's a part where, before you see her with the crutches, there's a part where AJ stares at the camera, and the camera pans like up and fades. Then it goes back. You know why? Because that's the end of the game. Clementine was supposed to be dead. But I think what happened was, they edited the end in. And I have a lot of theories why and ways to prove this. First of all, the whole thing with him staring at the camera, the way the camera pans and fades, but then all of a sudden it starts up again. Also, if you notice, at the very end of the game, you walk down the corridor and it has the credits are on the wall, which I think is awesome. I thought that was an awesome feature, awesome touch. Like, whoa, that is cool as fuck. But then at the very end, when he gets down to the room where you used to put all your collectibles on the desk, on the dresser, he puts her hat down. And that's how the game ends. Think about it. That was originally from the original ending. if she was alive, why would that have so much meaning? And why would that happen? Why would it be like so dramatic of him taking her hat and putting it on the table, like, you know, a memorial for her, like, you know, we remember you, thank you for the good times, you know, Clementine. But she's still alive. She's still alive, so wouldn't you give her the hat back to put on? Why would you? So I think what they should have did was they should have took that out, because that was originally for the original ending. Second of all, I think the reason why they did the ending that they did was because they didn't want backlash. Think about it. Sonic the Hedgehog. People fucking made them stop the production of the movie and change the movie. Look at Mass Effect 3, the ending. Look at how powerful people's voices are on social media, that they're actually making directors in video games and movies change their creativity, which I'm highly against. I'm not for it. And I think, I was reading social media, and before the final episode came out, and I was reading, oh, you better not do that to our Clementine. You better not do that to our Clementine. Oh, no, she better live. Oh, my God, could you imagine? Still not bitten. You better, you know. And I think they didn't want backlash. And maybe, possibly, the potential to bring her back again in the future. Hey, listen, you could call me nuts. You could call me a weirdo. You could call me wrong. Hashtag Murray, you're wrong. I don't think so. I think I'm right. And because of all the points that I made, I think that's the way that the Twilight Zone, that The Walking Dead was supposed to end, and that's why it ended the way it did. And I think it was because the Skybound didn't want the backlash. They brought her back. They did it fucking creatively. Boy, did they do it creatively. But I sat that night after I finished that episode, and I said to myself, you know, something don't add up. Something's fishy. I think that's why. I think that's what it was. I'm going to stop the spoilers right now. Spoilers ending. Continue. But that's that. And I want to wrap up this first episode. I want to thank everybody for joining me. Listen, guys, I want to thank everybody for watching the channel, for being with me since the beginning, for new subs. Thank you for watching. I know I got a lot of new people because of the giveaways, but thank you for the guys that have stuck with me since the beginning. Thank you for watching all my content. We got so much coming. We got so much coming this year. We got more Murray Chat podcasts. We got my regular Murray Chat series continuing with the smaller episodes. And we got Let's Collect Pokemon episodes. We got my recent music pickups. We got my big music series coming. My giant music CD collection series, episode 1, starting soon. My Twitch streams, I'm playing all the latest releases, all the older releases, retro releases, live on Twitch, twitch.tv/MurrayNJ08. You could catch me on Twitter, at Sean Murray NJ. You could catch me pretty much anywhere. Facebook, Instagram. I have new episodes of Sean Checks It Out, which is my review series. That's coming out soon. I'm working on reviving that. My Watch OS, my iOS app reviews, and just a lot of vlogs in the works. It's, you know, so mixing it up on the channel. I'm trying to give people a variety. I'm trying to really, 2019 is when I really add a lot of variety to the channel, which I always have in the past, but more so this year. I'm really, really trying to mix it up for you guys and give you guys a lot of content. I don't want to be stale. I don't want to be that guy. You know, there's so many of these YouTubers that all they do is recite the news every day. This is what's happening in gaming. You can watch this from 70 other channels. I don't want to regurgitate shit. I want to be different. I want to be exciting. And I want to entertain you guys, and also give you recent current news, because I know a lot of you guys don't have time to watch all this stuff. So that's that. You can catch me next on Twitch. I'm going to be bouncing. I got so many games to cover. I got so much stuff, so much DLC. I'm going back and doing subscriber, viewer requested playthroughs, so I hope you join me for them. You guys are in control of that. You know something, guys? We don't do no Patreon on this channel. We don't do no subs, tips, money, tip jar. We don't do any of that scamming bullshit. Donate to me, donate games, donate money. This channel ain't about that. I don't believe in any of that fucking scammy shit. And all those people that do it are scammers, in my opinion. This is free. Actually, if anything, I give back to my subs and viewers. I'm giving to you. You guys are already giving me your viewership. That's more than enough. And any YouTuber that you watch that tells you that's not enough, they're a fucking scammer, and you shouldn't watch them. They're a bunch of, they're bullshitters. And stay away from them, because that's bad shit, and that's what's ruining YouTube. Take care, everybody. Thank you for joining me for the premiere episode of the Murray Chat podcast. We have lots of podcasts in the works for you, many new episodes, including E3 coverage and my other series, my little smaller brother series will be continuing, Murray Chat, in between the big podcasts. So hopefully we'll have some guests on in the future, some call-ins, some video call-ins. We'll have some subscriber comments. We'll have some subscriber viewer questions. We'll have a Q&A. We have lots coming in the next episode. I think you guys definitely want to stay tuned. It's going to be exciting. Lots more planned. We're going to have a new location, a new studio. And yeah, it's going to be great. So hope to see you guys. Thanks for joining me. Peace out. You guys really are the best.